thank you for sticking around. We're back with Sandra Stockton. Thank you for coming. I'm Dami, this is Jamie, and we're going to have a hometown history extra. So Sandra here lived through Hurricane Agnes, and she's written a book about it.
Yeah.
So would you like to share some of your firsthand experience with this flood?
Yes. Well, actually, I wrote a chapter in my book about Hurricane Agnes. And I always tell people, like, when I talk about it, to me, it was like something out of the Bible. And I was really young, in my 20s, like 23, 22, and you're thinking, holy shit, you know? You keep seeing it raining, nobody's saying it's going to be a hurricane or a storm, nobody's telling it's going to be flooding, it's raining. And actually, it got turned a hurricane on June the 14th, which was my birthday. I was born on June the 14th, so I'll never forget, because that, what a birthday present, you know?
Right.
And then it kept raining and raining, and I lived in the projects right by Penn Street in New York, if you know where that's at. Oh, Dental Supply used to be down there.
Okay.
And so I would come out my back door and walk over and see all the rain. Oh, it's really raining out there. It's just freaking raining, you know. I'm like, all these days raining and raining. So I go back in my house. My friends are in my house playing cards. They got their wine or smoking a one little thing. And I'm like, I don't smoke or drink. And I'm like, okay. So I run back over to the Penn Street. It's like about, I guess from here to that door, maybe twice that to get to this. So I walk over here. I see the water mirror up there, and it's all muddy and everything. It's so much water, so I go back. About 20 minutes later, I'm just going to go check every 20 minutes. I go back over there and check, and I said, this looks like that water's higher. I really can't tell. There was so much, and I couldn't tell.
Right.
Is it higher? Is it just look at? Then I go back several times. I go back the last time, that damn bridge cannot be seen. And now I'm looking like, I don't know if I step over, am I in the creek or I'm on the bridge? So I saw that water, and now I'm Panic City.
Yeah.
Because my kids are, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to picture what it was like if you are trying to watch the news and you're waiting to be told because you don't want to you didn't have the news on or no news?
They weren't saying anything about it at that point.
So there was no like alert, like
no
I'm thinking,
alert.
I mean we get on our phone now, like alert or tornado warning.
No,
and
there was nothing.
so you had to take it upon yourself. And
I'm just thinking upon my brain, like, is this the Bible? Is it going to just cover us all and kill us, you know?
So the bridge for you was
the
your
bridge
marker.
was I'm getting the heck out of here. So I walked back to my project in the back door. I went upstairs in my little project house. So right close to that water, I got both of my kids. I'm like, wait, come on, let's go, get up, summer, you know, get some shorts on, little shoes on. And my youngest one, my baby girl, sucked her thumb, she'll kill me for this. She sucked my thumb, thinking, Mommy, but I'm sleepy. Get up right now, we gotta go. So I get all my little kids out. I got a couple papers I thought were important.
Right.
And I go downstairs. I got a little bag right here, stuff I'm holding. And I go to my back door because my kitchen was like the back door to out to the creek side. And I look at my friends. I said, "Y'all, it's gonna be a flood." Girl, there ain't gonna be no flood. No flood up in New York. I said, "It is going to be a flood. I'm telling you, I can't see the bridge. You can't see the bridge. You can't see the bridge. Girl, you can't see the bridge." I told y'all, I can't see the bridge. It's over the bridge. So then by the time I get my kids, now it's on the pavement that comes up to our yard. So I'm getting my kids out, and they're getting in there, and I figure out I'm getting out of them. I come to the door, I throw my keys on the table, they playing cards, drinking wine, doing what they do. And I said, when y'all get their weatherman license, talk to me. But right now, I'm the weatherman.
Right.
I'm getting my kids out of here. So I have one, I don't know which kid was on the side of my pockets. I have the shorts with pockets. Put my little kids' hand in their pocket, like 4 and 5, hand in their pocket. Have my little girl Carmen want to suck her thumb on my back. You can't suck your thumb. You gotta hold on to mommy. You gotta hold on. Wake up, you know, because we're up there and getting soaking wet.
Right.
My baby, I was holding like 3 on. I was holding him. So we're trucking through the water, and my son Kevin was about 4, I guess. He was like, "Mom, yeah, we're gonna drown." He said it about 100 times. I'm thinking, I can't swim. I can't swim. I'm not trying to drown.
Right.
I said, no, we're not. So by the time he said it about the 100th time, Kimmy, who's the oldest, she said, "Kevin, Mommy said we're not going to drown. Shut up, please."
Oh my God.
And then, we start walking. She's the oldest one. We're walking, and baby girl's on my back. So now she's soaking wet. She's slipping off my hips. And I wasn't this big then. I was kind of small. And then so I put her hand in my pocket where my kids had their hand. Hold your sister's foot in that pocket. So I have her. We're walking, and we walk about, I guess like 2.5 blocks or so to get to my sister's house who lives on Penn Street, because the bridges down here flooded and the water goes up, because it's up a little hill, so it's not up there yet, like over to her. So by the time we walk up there, it's on her curve, right? So I'm knocking on her door. She in there watching Perry Mason or something, smoking her cigarettes, drinking her tea. I said, we come to her door. We said, "Who is it?" I'm banging. She said, it's me, your sister. So I go in. She sees us all soaking wet. What the heck? Why you got the kids out? Is something wrong with your house? I said, no, there's something wrong in York. There's a flood. What do you mean there's a flood? I said, come here. Right to her point, she saw that water on the curb. She's panic sitting now. Wait a minute, sister. I gotta get my kids. You get your kids? I got mine. I'm going to mom's house. I'm trying to hike up to my mom's house, right? So she lived like going up College Avenue because it goes up a hill. When you get to the bridge, it goes uphill. So I'm trucking up here. I'm so tired. My kids are tired. We're soaking wet. Finally got up enough that water was on their feet so they could walk. Because when they were 3 and stuff, like I could still hold Keenan because he was like younger. And Carmen said, you gotta walk because mommy's tired. Okay, mommy, I'm coming to something. We're walking, we hiked to mom's house. And my mom, of course, they don't see the water because we're up by Dennis Supply now. Now it's high. So I told mom, this is a flood. She said, you sure it's a flood? And she put it on TV and said, something going on. That's all she does. She ordered me, something going on. So I asked my stepfather if he could drive me to Maple's house. She lived by York Hospital and I was way up on here.
That's a lot of walking.
Yeah, we walked to her house. I'm not walking.
Yeah.
When you were walking, were other people out and about, or was
I ain't seen nobody out but us.
Really?
Me and my kids. And I wasn't trying to knock on anybody's door but my sister.
Right. Okay.
You know, I mean,
That's
hey,
eerie.
1 for 1. It ain't all for all when you're trying to save your kids. You're trying to get them out of there. So I got up there and my stepfather took us over near the hospital, my sister Mabel's house, and we stayed there overnight. And she had her own kids. You know, I didn't really like being there because the water was making rats come. So now she's in there and she has these rats in her basement because now the water's up there. So now we got to get that. So my kids stayed upstairs with me on the couch, all checked out. So in the morning we said we was going to walk back over, see what it looked like. That's when we walked down, trying to get to my project. In the project, we had 2 stories. The water went up to the 2nd story, but didn't go up to that level. It's right there.
Okay.
The top of the steps.
Right before you get to the second
Everything
one.
on the top was saved. I didn't lose anything up there, you know?
Yeah.
Now I was worried about my sister because I hadn't heard from her because the phones were down
Right.
for several days. So finally about day 2, I think after that 2nd day, I saw one of my friends down on Penn Street and he had this 1920s garb on, these baggy pants, these brogue shoes. I was like, where did those clothes? He said at the Salvation Army because they lived on Newberry Street, so they got totally gone.
Right.
He said at the Salvation Army, he said, I saw your sister Mary up there and her kids, she was in the clothesline. I said,
Oh,
at least I know she's alive, you know?
man.
And she was so funny when we got to talk. Took a couple of days for the phones came in. She told me, she said, when I left her, that's when she started hearing the horns.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, and she said they were coming through Salary and saying, evacuate, evacuate.
Oh.
And they had buses, and she said they had a bus that came out around the corner from her house. They were trying to get women and children only. And she remembers this older guy trying to get on the bus. She's an older man, you know, but they said women and children. He tried to step in, mister. Women and children. I said, oh, you could have let the old man, excuse me, nobody. Women and children, you know, but everybody got it. So I was happy that she made it, and that I knew where she was then. So after that, 2nd day we went down to my project and the water was it wasn't out yet. Next day it's out.
Right.
Furniture's turned over, mud like so thick, refrigerator turned over, everything just ruined.
Your fridge was turned
The
over.
water, the whole refrigerator is knocked
Wow.
over. Furniture all everywhere. So I look in there with tears in my eyes and I said, Lord Jesus, it ain't the Bible because I ain't dead. I'm going to figure out how we going to get this cleaned up because nobody came down to help me clean your house.
Right.
So my cousin, Lee Smallwood, is running from politician in Europe or something, not then, but now or lately. But he came to check on me, you know. He looked at me and said, "Jeez." He said, "Don't panic, we're gonna get this." So they went. Him and my brothers went to buy bleach, you know, get us a hose and everything, and try to wash out, get everything out like they did on the refrigerator, lay it on the ground, everything. We weren't trying to save anything but the refrigerator,
Okay.
you know.
Because it was just beyond saving.
Yeah, there's nothing. It's just done. My kitchen table kept there.
Okay. Wow.
Cheers, I was there. Nothing else. So we came and we got the hoses. We hooked up the hoses. We had water, but they turned the hose all brown water.
Right.
He said, "Well, we're gonna rinse it out with brown water and get this mud." And we were shoveling
Cleaning mud with
and
mud.
shoveling and just shoveling and just throwing out the streets, just hoping it rains and want to come and wash that away. And you were shoveling for hours and hours. It took like 2 days to get all the mud out. We got the refrigerator standing up and got it drained out, and then we just hosed the refrigerator, washed everything out. Because somebody said, my mom said, the refrigerator's not going to be any good because it was laying on its side. I don't know, she might be right. But we rinsed it and we washed it and everything. And then we got it back in the house actually, and then we decided, me and my girlfriend, that we painted black. All messed up, all messed up.
Oh, okay.
So when we were restoring the house back, we painted the walls like black and silver.
Wow.
And I know my mom came there like, who paints their kitchen black and silver?
You do.
I said, Mom, I live here. She said, I'm glad you do. She's like, so it's black and silver because you know the walls are messed up. It's still painted.
Yeah, sure.
It's like the projects even gave a black and silver paint because in the project you got beige paint. If you ever been in anybody's project, you ever been anywhere, you know everything's the same.
Beige
you know,
or white, I
it's
remember.
just whatever, you know. So the thing, I think the hardest thing about that was like getting through that and wondering, okay, now where am I going to get furniture?
Right.
How am I going to get this place back together? You know.
Mm.
So the Red Cross was giving out food vouchers.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to talk about my best girlfriend Renee. She passed though. She was so funny. They lived down there where the floods all got everything got taken away.
Mm-hmm.
And she came and she said, "Girl, I just came back from the Red Cross. Get me a food voucher." I said, "Where'd you get a food voucher?" She all this roaches. She came.
Yeah.
And the taxis bring all the food, and I'm like, "Where'd you get that food?" You know, because we ain't got no food refrigerators. Where'd you get that food from?
Mm.
Girl, I went down to the Red Cross and they giving out vouchers for people with children, food vouchers. I said, "You ain't got no kids. How you get a food voucher and you don't have any kids?"
Right.
She said, "Well, I told you this little story. I had a couple kids and everything. They give me a voucher." I said, "Well, I'm going down there and get me one. I really got kids. I'm not lying. I have kids." So I go, I get my voucher and come back, and I get my dad, my stepdad, to come and take me grocery shopping. And, nobody really had that much money back in those days, but he was like, I said, "Well, can you take me to the grocery store?" And I said, "You don't gotta give me no gas money." He said, "Just give me a couple jars of pickled pig feet."
Oh, really? That's what you asked for?
That's what he asked me.
That's all.
And he just eat them up.
Oh, so you didn't like them?
Oh no, that's not for me. So Granny got groceries, came back, see everything on the shelves and everything, and we still didn't have any furniture in there, right? So then somebody, I guess the government, the federal government, was giving out grants for furniture and things like that.
Sure.
And they said you have to pay it back, you get the grant you wanted, but you really didn't have to. Exactly, you have to pay it back, then it's forgiven.
Okay.
So then I went to the Salvation Army, and I decided, I remember my mom taking me to rummage sales when we were really young when she left my dad. She got everything. She knew how to get something secondhand or used. It didn't matter. She made it look like new for her.
Heck yeah.
So we went there and we got all this furniture, and then I took it home. And my sister's boyfriend was did reupholster furniture.
Okay.
So I went and bought this chocolate brown and red velvet cloth to do my, and it was just beautiful. So I hooked up my living room. I had a coffee table that my mom gave me 100 years ago, and it was wood. It made it through the storm, so we painted it in there, and got new phones and everything. And like I felt like as soon as I did, it was like home. Get the smell, get the smells in there from the water, the old water. To get rid of the smell and everything, and get your kids back on some kind of like it's okay. Kind of mode like that.
I was thinking about that. How did your kids then respond after that? I mean, that's a traumatic event.
Well, I mean, they didn't have like therapy and stuff back then. Nobody offered therapy for post-traumatic stress syndrome. I never asked them that, I asked my oldest daughter if she remembers walking through the war. She said, "Yep." She remembers walking through the war. I think she was like 5 or so. She said, "I remember, walking through the war and everything." But they didn't have therapy now for everything. There was no therapy for probably anything.
Right.
And back in the old days, But for the first week or so, maybe almost more than a week, I left them at my mom's house. I seen them every day as after the day till we got the house back together as a house. It took a while. It took a while to get the furniture, get the furniture reupholstered. And it just took a while for everything to get back together. And then when I thought everything was good, then I brought them
So
home.
what was your, I'm trying to think, when I go through challenging times, I have like my mantra, like my go-to saying that gives me the strength to deal with whatever I'm dealing with. I mean, you had to have had dark moments over that week of trying to like rebuild and really surviving. What was your mantra?
I'm gonna get through this shit. I don't care what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this.
There you go.
I mean, if I could be there when my husband gets murdered in front of me and my kids, I can get through any damn thing.
Wow.
You just like, it's intentions. I'm gonna get through this. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, you can be broken and hurt. I've been hurt many times. It's like funny that my kids, they're grown up now, of course. And they said one day, my daughter said to me, my younger daughter said, "I never saw you cry." You never saw me cry, So then I asked my older daughter, Kim, came over. I said, "Kim, you ever seen me cry when you were kids?" "No." "You never saw me cry ever." "We never saw you cry." I said, "I feel it's not abnormal,
Did you cry, and you just maybe kept it to yourself?
I cry around my husband, I mean, I had this thing about me. Growing up in my book, I talked about my father was so abusive. And he was just a father from hell, let's just put it like that. Because I don't even talk about him because my mom's not crying now, but he was so tough that I got that part of him like, I'm not scared of nothing.
Right.
You know, you just have something in you. Not that I'm a bad person, but I just had that part. It's like when he would beat me when I was a little girl, I was just not going to cry. I was freaking not going to cry.
You didn't show the weakness.
Wasn't going to cry. Do what you got to do. And I was young. I'm talking about I was a little girl. My mom left me when I was 10. Do what you got to do. I'm not going to cry. And if you're killing me, I'm not going to cry. And I think something in that life growing up made me be like, I'm not going to shed them tears.
Well, and it's amazing because what happened to you is so unfair, but it did give you strength to get through all the challenges.
You saw me, like I would think I got from that guy. You know, when somebody's pushing my butt, it's like I'm not afraid of you. But I got from my mom. My mom was the kind of person like if somebody did something to her, oh my God, she was like, I'd be mad at something about something. I'd tell her, she said, oh, don't worry about Sandra. They'll get theirs. I'm thinking, when the hell are they getting it? Because I'm about mad right now, you know. So she always say that. Oh, they'll get theirs. I'm like, when they getting it?
Do we have a new house available in Newberrytown soon? Because if you guys come be our neighbor, I feel like
We'd love to have you as a
we'd be
neighbor.
set then.
I'm not moving anytime soon. We're on a farm in Maryland, and we're happy on a quiet farm.
Is it above 600 feet above sea level?
Oh, if the water comes up there, a whole bunch of people are gonna be in trouble. Like, we're up there, right? We're up there. Yeah, it's like a whole bunch of people are gonna be in trouble if it gets up there. You know, but I think that going through things, you know, surviving unpredictability is in everybody's life. Everybody crosses some bridge sometime, somewhere. Everything doesn't go perfect. It's a messy world. It's really a messy world. Look at all the things that's happening. I mean, I think somehow we got to get a hold of our children. We have to somehow, I mean, I'm steering off a little bit about that, but it's children that are going to run the world eventually. We got children killing children, children killing their parents. You know, I mean, how do we fix it? I don't know how to fix it, but I'm saying that's a thing for the world to understand that we got a problem. It's not about color, not about race. It's about children who are going to run this world one day. How do we fix it?
Well, and it sounds like a lot of the way you raised your kids and your own life was about character development and sticking to your guns and being strong and steady. And so that's one thing that we try to do with Hometown History is we try to have some type of message and takeaway. So thinking then about maybe a character trait that you got or something from Agnes that's a takeaway for you?
I guess the takeaway is to just never fold. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, just don't fold. I mean, you see things coming at you, and it's unpredictable, but you can't fold. I mean, you can close the door and cry all you want with your husband or whoever you're going to cry with, but don't let them see you fold. Because it doesn't make you weak, you know, to fold, but watch where you folding at. Because sometimes people will take advantage, they'll take it as you're weak. Or I can do what I want to do to you. You're not going to do that because you're quiet. Don't sit like you're just a bump on the log and you're going to let people take advantage of you. Because I try to teach one of my kids is back there. He ain't looking at Sean.
Well, everyone's looking now.
He knows. I mean, I try to teach them to respect people. I mean, I look at people now, young people who just curse on anybody. And when I was a little girl, if my mom's girlfriend gave me a spanking for something, my mom didn't care what you do. Now you touch somebody's child, now they didn't be your best friend's child. Well, like, you want to visit my child. You know, you can't correct your other people's children, sometimes even your nieces and nephews, because people get on some kind of zone up there where like they're gold or something, like you want them to be corrected, but they have to be corrected. And see, back when I was little, if somebody whipped your butt, your mom's friend, first of all, if you got a whipping from your mom's friend, you're getting another one because you shouldn't have been doing that.
You embarrassed mom.
You should not have been doing and getting in any trouble.
Right.
Like, you know, somebody say something, you say, oh, please, God, don't tell my mom. Nowadays, I mean, come on, nowadays, kids like, go ahead, tell her, she ain't gonna do nothing.
Right.
So speaking of adults that you know that get in trouble, what happened to your friend group that stayed back at your house?
Oh, they got out. I saw them a couple days later.
Oh, yeah. Did they lock up the house? Or
They
did
like nothing. But all the water parts went down. Everything was open. Water, you know, everywhere.
Right.
Water was just everywhere. And they didn't. I don't know where them keys were. I guess they But when we saw Glad, I said, oh, y'all got your license yet? You know it's a flood, right?
Yeah, I love that. And they were telling you not to worry, and you're like, do you have your weather license?
I had just spoke to him. He was my boyfriend then. I had just spoke to him on the phone. The phones were really crackling that night. I said, I think there's a flood. I'm trying to get the kids and get out of here. He said, well, take care of yourself. I said, I plan to. I'm out of here.
Aww.
And I didn't talk to you for like almost a week, right? Something like the phones were out because he was in active duty military in D.C. So he knew I was okay though because we had that conversation. But all I could think about, not him, my sisters and brothers, but just my kids, just getting my
Priorities. There's levels of priorities.
Kids first. Me,
I knew he was okay.
Me and kids first. That's who got to get saved.
Right.
I think looking back on things, like, you know, we have to be more prepared. I told you earlier I couldn't swim.
Right.
So I made sure I sent my kids to YMCA.
That's awesome.
And they need to know how to swim. And when we married, we started getting grandchildren, and he wanted a pool because he's a swimmer.
Okay.
And I said, you can only get a pool if you're going to teach them to swim. Because I'm going to be afraid with that pool in here.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
I'll tell you something funny if we have a couple more minutes. We got a minute or so?
Sure.
Let me tell you. And first of all, I'm hands up. People, you can't laugh. So put your hands up. You're not going to laugh. I ain't going to tell you y'all going to laugh. I mean, you laughing? You're not laughing, right? I was on vacation with that guy in Florida. And he's teaching me how to swim. I tell him I'm afraid I'll never learn how to swim. I can teach you to swim, Sandra. I can teach you. So we're in the pool, and he's teaching me, and we walk to the water, and he's holding on me. Then he lets me go. My head went in the water. I thought I was drowning. Oh my God, I'm drowning! Oh my God, I'm drowning! I'm drowning! He snatches me up, and he's holding me tight. Now I'm screaming, I'm drowning! You're gonna let me drown! So he's holding me up, and he says, "Babe, stop the screaming." People's looking at me. Stop it! You're gonna let me drown! Stop screaming! He said, "I'm holding you. I'm not gonna let you go. Put your feet down. Can you feel your feet on the bottom of this pool? So put your feet down." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Now my hands are around you. I'm gonna move my hands over there. Are your feet on the ground?" "Yeah." "Are you drowning?" "No." He said, "The water can't go up no further."
Right.
I was so scared. I still can't swim.
Oh, you can't.
I mean, he taught me a little bit, but I can't save you.
Hey, you survived Agnes. You did it.
I
That's what
can't
matters.
Stay in the, don't go in the deep end.
No, I'm only gonna swim if it's in a pool
Yeah.
and it's not over my head. I'm not gonna doggy paddle. Come on.
Sandra, thank you so much for driving the whole way up here to talk to us tonight.
I'm happy that you invited me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sandra has 2 books for sale, and she has a 3rd one coming out. Is there a launch date?
Well, you know, my brain is really. I'm shooting for October, November.
Okay, yeah.
Because I wanted to be out in January 2023. That'll be our 50th year anniversary.
Aw.
So I'm shooting for that.
So you had to have gotten married then right after Agnes. If it was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
That's quite a year for you. Yeah.
Well, 50, I married him a year later. I made him marry me. I made him marry me. We were dating for not even a year, you know. And I just told him that I want to get married. You're going to marry me? He's like, we're on the phone now. This is after the flood. He said, I don't know if I'm ready to get married. I was like, okay, fair enough. I said, but let me say this to you. I'm still looking. He said, what does that mean? That means I'm looking for a husband for me and a dad for my kids. So that means I will see you, but I'm looking. So whatever that means to you, that's what Sandra's doing. He called me back about not even a week. He goes, hey, when you want to get married?
I love it.
So you got him to fold. You got to fold. You got him to fold.
But then I got mad. I said, oh, I don't want to get married because now you want to get married because I'm making you married. So he says, make up your mind. You want to get married, you want to get married, you know. I'll tell you one more thing. We went to go get our license in New York County Courthouse. We go up as a middle-aged white guy down the county, gives our paperwork to fill out to get our marriage license. We're filling out everything and everything's good. We sit down and fill it, we're ready, done, we're ready to go back to the counter. We go to the counter, he looks at my paper and said, okay, Sandra, signs off. He takes his paper, you can't get your license today. I'm like, why not? He's not 21. I said, holy shit. He showed me an identification card when I mentioned it, said you were 22. How can you not be 21? I was so mad, I wanted to just strangle him. I told him, don't walk with me back to my house, stay away, get away from me. Because if I go over the College Avenue Bridge, I might push you over.
All right, well, thank you so much, Sandra. It's been
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. for Sandra, since she experienced it firsthand, you're more than welcome to ask. We are all ears.
Bueller.
Sandra, I don't know if you covered this. I might have missed it. Can you tell us about your foster children and the book you have about them?
Yeah. We took care of over 100 children in the Washington, D.C. area, foster kids, over 25 years, right? And we became foster parents every year, too many times to count. We actually started telling our agency, pick another parent. It's just unfair, because how they worked it is the children voted who they like in the program, so we always got, pick somebody else, okay? Yeah. So, News Channel 7, I guess a year ago, did a story on us. What happened was, one of our foster sons, a Caucasian young guy, we love him. He calls us grandma and grandpa, that's how long we've been doing it. And he got in an accident going to North Carolina to meet his young wife, and everything they had was in that truck he was driving. It all caught on fire and burned up. So I did a GoFundMe. I basically talked about this foster child I was trying to help, and tell him my story. Then News Channel 7 called me like the next day after I put it out. They wanted to interview us. They came to our house the next day. I said, damn, we just talked about this. They came the next day to interview us, and then it went viral. And I was telling I think I was telling you or something, like my grandson, or my kids called out, one of the grandsons, Grandma, Pop was going viral on social media. I'm like, what's viral? I'm a nurse, I'm thinking viral? What's that? I didn't know what viral was. I didn't know. And they told me, so right after that, we started getting calls for interviews, radio interviews, and we did all kinds of stuff. And I told him, I said, we gotta write a book. We just have to do this. We need something, some product. So we wrote a book. We threw it together in 3 months. It's a mini foster care book. So it's called There's Always Room for One More. And it's on Amazon. I don't have any books because I thought it was nothing. And all of a sudden, I guess a couple weeks ago, I got an email that I sold 5 copies in Germany.
Wow.
3 in United States, 3 in United Kingdom.
Wow.
I don't know nobody over there. So I said, we better just push this,
Right.
So our marketing company is helping us, and they set up a podcast radio tour for us. We start tomorrow night.
Very
Is it
exciting.
tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night.
Oh,
You're a busy
Thank you for
woman.
coming up here then.
Yeah, we're just starting to get busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we weren't expecting that. I just ordered some books. I didn't think that was going anywhere. It was just a thing for him.
Right.
So then you never know which way God's going to make the river flow. And stay with the current. So it's doing pretty good.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So your question, sweetheart?
I was just curious, when you were leaving your house with your children and you were running to your sister's house and then to your mom's, why didn't your sister go? Did I
She had to take her butt upstairs and wake her kids up. She was watching TV smoking a cigarette. Sandra was already ready to go. So I forewarned her, get your kids. She wanted to go. She kept saying, Sandra, wait for me, don't think. I can't wait for you, I got my kids. And she's my older sister, So when she made it to the Salvation Army on the bus, she got out. But that was the reason why, because I can't wait for you. I don't know how fast that water's gonna come. And I gotta look out for mine. I love my sister, I love my nieces and nephews, but we gotta go. So she made it out. She heard the sirens, everything, got on the bus. That was why she wanted to go. She told me to wait for her. I can't. I got my kids. I talked to all my books on my kids come first. My kids come first. And I talk about this through both books as they're growing up and getting children and getting into the things they get into. Book 3, I'm going to talk more about. I talked in book first about seeing my first husband be murdered in front of me and my kids. So I was really young, so made me widowed at 19. That was horrific. I didn't think anything could be worse than that until my stepfather died. I loved him. I didn't have a real dad. He was that guy. And he went to the hospital and wouldn't expect to die. You go to the hospital, you die. All these unpredictable things. And I never thought anything could be worse than that. And then while I'm stationed in Korea, went to one evac, South Korea, my mother and sister died in a fire in Europe. I'm about to cry on that one. They perished in a fire. So I'm talking about in that book. And then I'm going to talk about my youngest son being murdered in Maryland by 2 young teenagers. The police, the homicide detective said, if there's anything I can say in consolation, that they shot your son in the heart with a double shotgun. He felt nothing. When he felt, it was my kid.
Yeah.
I don't know what went through his head that second somebody pulled that trigger. You think of all those things. You think of those things. I got sad. But I'm going to talk about the things I'm stronger now.
Right.
That is, you've been through a lot.
I mean,
Yeah, I'd say, to say the least.
Sandra, could you, and again, you might have touched on this, but tell us a little bit more. You're a lieutenant colonel at the time of your retirement, a nurse.
Yes.
Talk about that.
I went in the military 100 years ago. I went enlisted first in the Air Force, the play military, okay? Alright, my husband was in the Air Force after duty, and he came and said, he married me, I got all these kids now, he's a young guy, he wasn't even 21, he had to get his sister to sign. So we're on base, he comes one day and said, babe, I think if you're going to reserves, we have a little bit more money, because things are really tight, and I was trying to go to school and everything. I said, I don't know about that. I kept saying, I don't know. Then finally I said, yeah, let me help, let me do it. So I went in, and then I stayed there for a while, and then I got out. I actually left there. I told the commander one day, I said, you know what, I don't even want to be here no more. I don't like this. I said, go home then. Go ahead, go home, Airman Stockton, it's fine. I think I'm done. I go home. You said go home. Years later, I go to school and get a couple degrees, and I see this sign in the paper for nurses. All military service was shorter nurses because Iraq, all things was going, they were shorter nurses. They needed nurses. They were taking any nurse. One nurse in my class, I went in, she was like 59. I said, what the hell? They're really desperate. So they tell you to sign this paper that they let you know, because you're older, that they will not guarantee you can do 20 years and retire. Because I mean, 59, 60, 80, she can't retire. I was nursing, and I was 40, I think. And so I go in the military and go to officer advance course. I decided to sign the paper. I actually told him, look, I've never been alone or lived alone ever. Maybe if I do the military, I get some station alone where I'm not with you or the kids or it's just me, So I get in, I swear, he gets a general to swear me in where he was stationed at Bethesda, which is really cool. So that helped me go into officer basic. They see your stuff, officer basic. Are you a general? Yeah. Not really, but yeah. So I go in there and we have all these classes, all these things, and I'm thinking, this is nothing like enlisted. Anybody been enlisted? So you know how they be screaming at you in your nose and I was so tough when I was here thinking when my dad came in here. I would not blink because he told me nobody can touch you. So now I don't care how much you holler. I don't care. On your nose, and at the end of that basic training, me and this Hispanic girl, she was tough too. Her brothers were in the military and he was in the military. And the sergeant, the TI, took us out to lunch. He's not supposed to because we're still not officially out yet. He took us to lunch, he wanted to know, why are you so tough, both of you? Why are you so tough? He said, why'd you know so much? Airman started saying, my husband acted in the Air Force. He said, And her brothers were in the Marines, so that's why y'all were the tough ones. Because I knew they couldn't touch us, so we were both squad leaders, so we were good.
Well, they took the time to tell you and teach you and know, kind of like your rights.
Okay. So when I went to be an officer, I said, oh man, this is a cakewalk. I'm an officer basic, this is a cakewalk, Nobody's screaming at you and everything, but I'm telling you, as soon as we got off in there and started getting those classes, here goes the godlike attitude. They were officers and we were too, but they were the ones in charge.
Right.
So you still have to deal with that. So I was in class one day, this is the funny thing. So I'm in class and this here sergeant comes up and says, no, they actually call me. And I go to personnel where I'm supposed to go. I said, what's going on? I'm in trouble? You start thinking, They said, Lieutenant Stockton, you can't be in two services at the same time. What are you talking about? You're still in the Air Force, enlisted. What? I said, I told you that the commander sergeant go. He said, he didn't even go. He put you on the INR, Individual Ready Reserves. I'm like, what in the heck? They could have pulled you at any day, and you'd have been back in the Air Force. I said, what I got to get out now? He said, no, we're keeping you. We're going to figure this out. They figured it out. They even changed my data rank, how they did everything to make it work. And then they got it. I got it. Everything's cool. And then I met this lieutenant one time. I was first lieutenant. So it's like first lieutenant, second lieutenant. I think that's so dumb. You would think second lieutenant is the top, but third, I know, first lieutenant. So I met this lieutenant, first lieutenant. I'm a first lieutenant. She was a captain. And we were just talking about how you got recruited. She was from California. And I said, so you came as a captain, direct commission? She said, yes, I came as first lieutenant. I said, what's your degrees? Because I've been a nurse for a long time. So she told me she had a bachelor's of science. Is that all you got? I'm like, is that all you coming with? I'm thinking like I got a master's, I got a couple degrees. Oh, wait a minute. So I was in class one day, and this group came from DC. And they would like to hear all of our problems, if we had any problems, anything they could fix. So, you know, I have my little hand right up there to stay. I said, what I don't understand is how we can all be recruited from different recruiters all over the United States that all come at different levels. One of us, we might educate somebody. How do y'all just decide who gets what? So what are you saying? So I told her, I said, well, there's a person in this class, she's here right now, I'm not gonna name her. She came in as a captain, she has a bachelor's degree, and I got 3 degrees. My recruiter brought me as a first lieutenant, I'm not happy with that. So I said, I'll tell you what, the first opportunity I have to get out of your United States Army, I'm done. You know, she said, well, wait a minute now, wait a minute, Lieutenant, we're gonna take this back to headquarters, and we're gonna talk about this, and we're gonna figure out what we can do. About, not even a whole week, maybe a week and a half later, I get called to the head of the class, they say, anybody here believe that the Army makes mistakes? And everybody's all looking around, you know, we're like, okay, what? Lieutenant Stockton, front and center, I'm like, oh hell. So I got up, went up here and turned around, he started tucking off my bars, putting my captain bar in. You are now,
Wow,
you are now captain.
nice.
You are now captain. So, you have to speak up for yourself.
Yeah,
Clearly.
Always speak up for yourself because you never know unless you ask.
Yeah, that's self-advocacy. And two, their humility to say that they made mistakes and did something
a big
about
one.
it.
You're cheating people.
Right.
I
Yeah.
got a bachelor's degree. What the heck? Let's come up with some more degrees. You know? Let's come up with some more degrees.
Yeah.
You start giving us like captain.
I don't see that behind your name on your book here. I just see I feel like you should have some letters behind there.
Some up here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that I've had a rewarding life. I've been through a lot, but I always come out on top because I don't yield.
right.
I'm gonna cry with him or somebody. Maybe when my mom was alive, I cried with her a lot. My mom was just so nice. She didn't even know how to cuss.
Where did you learn it then?
I learned how to cuss until you read my book. You saw I learned how to cuss. My dad was terrible. I know how to cuss this little girl. You don't forget how to cuss. One day my mom was on man. She's like, damn it to hell. We're like, you gotta learn how to phrase that up, Mom. I'm not gonna tell you I'll be told how to phrase. You gotta learn how to phrase that up. Ain't nobody gonna be scared of you. She's like, oh, Sandy, go ahead, girl. Hush, child. But she was just that nice person, you know, always thinking if somebody doesn't, oh, they'll get there. When, Mom? Don't worry, God will take care of them when. When is that going to happen? That's all I'm saying.
She had a lot of faith.
She'd always be, and this is funny because before I went to Korea, she told me to go see my dad and try to like make amends with him before I go in case something happened to him while I was born. I go to Korea and she dies in a fire with my sister.
Wow.
Jesus. But anyways, I dad to talk to my dad, and I always regret it, even though he's been dead a long time. I wish I would accept this project. He actually told me, I told him, you never loved me. You only loved Mary, you know that. You never loved anyone else. He said, but I did love him. When he was sitting on the curb, he started crying. I said, now I know he's probably pretty sorry. But that part of me, just like him, I didn't want to yield to that. I didn't care, because you can't give back all those years that you did bad stuff.
Yeah.
But my mother had forgave me, but then she always said, don't get there, so I guess she just forgave me. I mean, I used to get upset when I go to York from Maryland, and she said, William just left, because we always called my mom died when William was little, and I still called him, I never called him Dad, I called him William, ever. And she said, he just came by, gave him a cup of coffee. I'm like, did you spit in it? It's like, come on, Sandra, now you know, I'm just kidding, you know. So I didn't have that animosity about him, but I always wish that I would have just forgave him, because he meant it. I think he really meant it.
Yeah, you don't know that at the time, though.
Yeah.
You know, hindsight's 20/20. In the moment, you didn't know.
I wish I did that.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Yeah.
But that's my story.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
an
you so
amazing
much,
story.
Sandra. Yeah.